Hey guys, Marocellos here. Today I'm going to be going over 20 more things that you may or may not have known about Minecraft. If you haven't seen the previous video, feel free to look in the description box below, and you can either watch that video before or after this one. They don't really have anything to do with each other, so don't worry about that. So let's just get started, and tip number 1 is hidden lighting. I set it to nighttime so you guys can see the drastic light that is in here. If you notice, there are no torches, no redstone lamps, no glowstone, allowing light to be in here, but we do have a lot of tips that I'm going to go over with you guys, and then hopefully it'll help improve your builds. And I know I use it for everything, and I just don't really like the look of glowstone. So what I do is you take some glowstone and you place down some stairs to cover up the glowstone, and what happens next is amazing. So place it real quick, and there you go. So you have some amazing hidden lighting, and it gives a really neat effect. And as you can see, it mostly comes through the back half, but it does also come through the bottom as well. So keep that in mind when you're placing them upside down and, everything like that, just to kind of get a feel for how the effects actually happen. So it can give you different effects depending on how you're kind of placing the glowstone. If I turn on my X-ray real quick, you can kind of see that there is glowstone, but it's just behind the stairs. So it does work with any stairs. You can use, you can use brick, you can use stone brick, you can use nether brick, you can use any wood, sandstone. It works with all the stairs. So the trick with this is to have your smooth lighting enabled in video settings. I do have Optifine, so it looks a little bit different, but if you turn your smooth lighting all the way down, it's just a lot choppier. It still works and it still looks pretty cool, but I do like the smooth lighting a lot better. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to show off a build with your new hidden lighting techniques. You want to kind of, stress that to people that you're showing. So tip number 2 is hidden lighting continued. So if you look, you can see the pistons. It's kind of emitting some light. And the way that this works is if you hit the switch, you can see that the light kind of shines on. And we do have some redstone lamps back here that's seeping through the back of the pistons, or the top of the pistons technically. So it works with glowstone, it works with sticky pistons, and it also works with regular pistons. So it's just a really cool tip, and I love using it all the time. And as you can see, I make weird designs and everything, but I use it for everything. And if you come on the floor, you can kind of see that there's glowstone below it, and that's letting the light to come right through. Tip number 3 is how to get this dark ceiling up here. I think it just gives it a lot more depth and, kind of a mysterious look to it, and I really love it. So in order to get the same effect, what you're going to have is you're going to have a half slab for your ceiling, which is like I have right there, and you're going to cover the top of it so that no light can get through the top, and then you're going to go around it and place 4 blocks on all 4 sides. And as you can see, it gets a little bit darker. It's not as black as the ceiling, but it's pretty dark. So if you like that, use it, but you can make it darker by adding another layer, and that's as dark as it gets. As you can see, I can add more, but that's as dark as it gets. So you just have, 8 blocks around it, and then the 9th on the top, and it blocks all the light from coming in, and it just gives a really cool kind of look to it. Tip number 4 is a secret block. That's what we call it. We call it a secret block. So what this block is, it can only be spawned into the game. So if you're not an admin on your server, you don't have spawning item rights, you can ask an admin, maybe they'd be willing to give it to you, but, just ask around and maybe you'll be able to get it. But it's 44:6. So if we place the regular half slab, which is this one right here, if you can see it's the regular one, versus the one next to it, it has more of a bevel to it than the one that you can spawn, which is this one. So 44:6, the secret block. What happens when you stack it on top is magic, and I love it so much. We use it for everything. It's just kind of a unique block that some people don't know even exists. So there you are, 44:6, and this is the regular half slab. So if we have a regular half slab and then we try to put the 44:6 on top of it, of course they're not going to stack. So it's just a fun little tip, and maybe you can use it to your advantage in one of your next builds. So this one is the hidden dispenser trick. Let me just make sure it's set up, because I was playing around with it and it's not. So the trick with this is covering the entire dispenser on all sides. I do the corners as well, just in case. But what you're going to want to do is cover the back as well. So there we go, it's all covered. And you're going to come around, and you're going to hit the button, and the item's going to pop out the front. And it's really cool, and what I use this for is for bars. We have a few little VIP areas. Maybe I can show you guys that another time. But you hit the button and you know, little alcoholic drinks pops out of the floor. And it's just kind of handy because, you know, it's clever. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cover all the sides of the dispenser so that it kind of forces it out the front. And that's tip number 5. Tip number 6 is paintings. This tip is kind of useless unless, you know, you're making like a little computer or anything of that sort. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a lever, we're going to take maybe a fence and a painting maybe. So this tip is just basically showing you the hitbox versus the hitbox on the painting. So as you can see, they don't intersect. They're very close to intersecting, but they don't intersect. And when 2 hitboxes on an item intersect, it breaks one of the blocks or you can't place the item. So in the painting's case, if it intersects with the hitbox on the painting, it will break the painting. So that item will remain. So if we're going to come over here, and I'll show you this real quick. We have a fence, but I'll put a painting. So as you can see, the hitbox on the torch, it's nowhere near the 2 paintings. So the torch can remain intact and, you know, be all hunky-dory. And the same with the lever. So what happens if you break the lever and place a fence, it looks fine, but it does intersect. If you look really closely there, it intersects with the painting. So in a second, the painting will break and, you know, the fence will remain. So keep that in mind if you're, you know, trying to do that. This one, let me do a quick reveal because I was not prepared. I'm terribly sorry. So you're going to turn your trees to fast or whatever, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover this up. And so you're gonna go to options, video settings, graphics, and then you can choose fancy or fast. So these are actually solid leaves. You can't see through them at all. So if there was somebody in here crouching, saying, you know, Dux was hanging out in the bush or whatever, we wouldn't see him at all if we were keeping our graphics on fast, which a lot of people do because surprisingly Minecraft uses a lot of CPU. So what you can do is you can go to options, video settings, and then details, and then trees will be fancy. Again, it's Optifine, so it's a little bit different, but just look for graphics. It's in graphics and then fast and fancy, and then you can see right through it. So even if somebody were crouching, you would still be able to see them. So it's kind of, you know, handy if people are playing on PvP servers and they don't know about that trick. They can kind of get themselves in trouble. So one of my favorites is Supercharged Mobs. You can use splash potions on mobs in order to kind of create different effects. Tip number 7 is very fun, and I love this tip. It's kind of, you know, really fun to troll your friends with and stuff like that. So it's Supercharged Mobs, and how this works is basically you're going to spawn a mob, and I put a little zombie there real quick. So splash potions have effects on mobs, and the way it works is they can, you know, feel slowness, they can feel weakness, they can feel poison, they can feel regen, they can feel everything. But the rule kind of is that undead, like skeletons, zombies, and zombie pigmen, are actually unaffected by poison and regen. So this zombie here, so he's actually harmed by instant healing potions, splash potions of healing, and he's actually healed by splash potions of harming. So, you know, it's backwards. So, you know, we can heal him, and it doesn't really show an effect or anything, but then you can damage him, and as you can see, he takes damage. And it actually 2-shots him with the instant health 2 potions. So that's just a cool little tip, and the way that poison works is it actually doesn't affect spiders or the ender dragon. So if you have a cave spider, you know, and you try to splash him with potion, he doesn't get poisoned. But I do play on a hardcore server. I run a hardcore server, which is siegecraftmc.com. The IP will be in the bottom, but we do have it set to hard, so cave spiders do poison you. And a way around that is actually splashing them with potions of weaknesses, and it'll actually prevent them from poisoning you because they can't attack. So it's just a cool little tip to kind of use, you know, if you're in a tight spot and you're about to die, you know, just throw some weakness potions down and escape. You can also throw strength potions, splash potions at mobs and make them do more damage, and everything is on the wiki if you're looking for kind of stats as to how much damage people or mobs will do compared to, you know, without the potion effects and everything like that. So it's just pretty cool. But if I put a creeper down here real quick and I throw a splash potion of regen at him, you can actually see the effect on him. So you can know that he actually has the potion effect, but if you're trying to troll your friends or something and they don't know about it, they're not really going to know what's going on. So it's just a cool tip, and, you know, again, mostly for trolling, but what are you going to do? That's what Minecraft's about. Next we have redstone stuff. So we're going to come over here. Tip number 9 is bud switches. So as you will see in a tip over there, I think it's tip number 11, in my other videos I kind of did like a glowstone trick for piston doors. It just uses less materials, and tip number 11 will go more over that. But basically, this is a bud switch. You activate it, the redstone's activated, this sticky piston is broken, but I'm going to ignore it. It's just hidden. So we're going to place a block and activate the bud switch, and all works well. And then come over here, try to activate this bud switch, and nothing happens. The reason for this is, as you can see, we have glowstone or redstone right here in the middle with glowstone, and with the glowstone trick, redstone can only travel upwards. It can't go downwards like so. So if it's on the glowstone and trying to charge the sticky piston, it can't reach because it doesn't travel downwards. The redstone can only travel upwards if it's using glowstone at all. So please keep this in mind. You know, if you do have kind of a knack for redstone or anything like that, or if you're just learning it, just keep that in mind. And, you know, if you're using the glowstone trick, just remember that it can only travel upwards and it can't make a redstone charge go down. So I just wanted to kind of go over that real quick and then, you know, turn it off, and ooh, it's freaking out, and just turn that off. But anyways, so that's tip number 9, and I just want to kind of go over with that so you guys can kind of understand it a little bit. And moving on. So the next tip is just something simple, kind of hiding redstone for levers and buttons. And as you can see here, we have like a little lever, and it's actually, there's a repeater here to kind of, you know, make it cleverly hidden, so that way if you do have redstone here instead of a repeater, you can't hide it as well because it'll actually block the redstone. See, as you can see, it's stopped. So you have to use a repeater. So come over here, steal the repeater, place it back down, place it the right way, and it'll be fine, and then you can place a block over it, and as you can see, it doesn't interfere with the connection or anything. So coming over here, it's just showing you kind of a little better trick. A lot of people don't know that this connects to this. See, if you place some redstone down, it's activated. See, if you come from the redstone to the block to the actual repeater. So it's just a cool little trick, and a lot of people don't know that redstone kind of works like that. So I just wanted to go over with you guys how it really kind of works. So another little tip for this trick, you have, you know, the lever that activates the redstone on and off. On and off. What is, server's lagging? Sorry. But on and off, you know. And then turn it off. Instead of using the repeater, if you try to use a torch, it will kind of freak out and kind of power off. So, you know, you have to use a repeater in order to kind of do this. So that's the cool little trick with repeaters. And how did I just break that? But anyways, moving on. Another little redstone tip. It's the glowstone trick. And I used it in my piston door tutorial if you saw that. If not, it's somewhere on my page. But anyways, if you turn it on, it will go all the way up and activate the piston. So as you can see, it travels kind of funkily, which is really cool. It goes up, and then it goes back over, and then it goes back over, and then it goes up, and then it activates the piston. So it's really kind of awesome to use, you know, barely any wiring, and it's just a lot more compact than you would be able to do. So it's clever. And then as you can see here, it can't travel down. So if you're using the glowstone trick and you have activated glowstone up here, it doesn't continue, it just stops. So if we turn this off and then come up here, turn this on, it'll activate this half, but it can't travel down because this is activating this redstone here, and it's going up and activating the piston because it can only travel upwards if you're using the glowstone trick. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to make something and you're not understanding what is happening and that piston just disappeared. So moving on, tip number 12, it's a very long repeater and you're using less materials. So instead of having a very gigantic repeater or, you know, anything like that, if you have kind of a little mini game or a timer for a contest or anything like that, all you have to do is just make this, and it's very, very simple to do. So what happens is this actually shoots out blocks. I don't know why it's not filled, but you hit the button and it shoots out the block, and it just sort of goes really slowly, and it'll eventually drop down and hit the pressure plate. And then because we have this block up here, it's a clock, so once it reaches the pressure plate, it's actually going to shoot out another one and just go in circles and circles until the dispenser empties. So there we go. It looked like it lagged. Oh no, it went. So it dropped, and then it, you know, the clock went off. And if you're not interested in making a clock, you're just making, you know, one really long repeater, you're just going to remove this block so that the torch doesn't interfere with the dispenser. So that way, once it goes through and it hits the pressure plate, it doesn't do anything. It just, you know, you can hook it up to a note block or anything if you're having a little contest, or, you know, whatever you please. So if you want to take a look at it real quick, you have a fence with a pressure plate connected to some redstone, and the redstone just goes up to the torch, and the torch will activate the dispenser again if you want the clock. Again, put a block on top of the torch in order to power the dispenser, otherwise your clock won't work. So, moving on, tip number 13, it's more of a kind of challenge. So, we have a repeater here, just a regular normal repeater, as you can see. And then there's some glass, and then there's a redstone torch on top of it that is lit. And the trick is, or the challenge rather, is can you turn the redstone torch off without actually physically breaking the torch itself? And, you know, you guys can post video responses, or you can leave a comment below, and I know how to do it. There is a way to do it, but, you know, I just thought it was something fun that you guys can try and test out, or anything like that. So, you know, let me know if you think of anything, or if you think it's impossible, or voice your opinions in the comments below, and I'm interested to see what you guys come up with. So the next tip, it's sort of kind of useless, I guess, if you don't have a silk touch pick, but it's a stone generator. So I know some people are kind of interested in having houses kind of make themselves with cobblestone generators. So technically you can do the same thing with a stone generator. So, you know, you hit the button, and then the water goes, and then it hits the lava, and then it turns to stone. So you just keep hitting the button, and blah blah blah, you get some stone, and it just keeps going and going and going. And over here, this is the only redstone we have. We have the button, we have a piece of redstone dust, and that is all. And as you can see, I'll turn on my x-ray, that's literally all that there is to it. You know, activates, lets it go, pushes it out, and there you have it, a little stone generator. So there's just water on both sides and then lava in the top, and that's all there is. Tip number 15 is very helpful on raiding servers. Siegecraft is my server, and it's a chaos server, and I try to kind of teach people this all the time, but you know who listens to me. So we're gonna get a TNT because I was playing with it before. So I'll put the TNT up there. Oh, TNT. So the way this works is, as you can see, this is just a regular obby room. You know, behind these chests there's a piece of obby, so there's no way in and out. If this were covered completely, you'd be, you know, okay, my chests are safe. Well, this person decided to not fill in the corner. So what happens is, I don't know if I can turn my brightness, there you go. So this corner, it should be covered like this, so that way, you know, it's preventing the corners from the TNT from getting through the corner. So what's going to happen is the TNT is going to come down, it's going to drop right here, it's going to explode, and then it's going to break the chests on the other side. So it's sort of a glitch, but you know, a lot of people use it to their advantage, and I figured I'd show you guys so maybe you guys can find it useful. But you hit the button, watch the TNT fall, and it's going off, and boom, TNT is gone. So it's just a cool little trick, and hopefully you guys can find it useful if you guys like to play on PvP raiding servers. So tip number 16 is a Prot 4 tip. So this involves protection for armor, which I do have on, but you can't see. So we'll set that up real quick. And see, I have Prot 4, I have two pieces of Prot 4, Prot 2, and Prot 2. So, looking at that side of the chest, for Enchanted Armor, the max protection you can have is 25. That's represented by this block of iron right here. So, you know, we have Prot 4, and each piece of Prot 4, whether it's a helm, boots, chest, or pants, it's 11 points. I guess we can say points. So you get 11 protection just from, each piece. So if you have 4 pieces of protection 4 at 11 protection each, how much are you going to have? You're going to have 44 protection, which is over the cap. So you don't need all of Prot 4 in order to get the Prot 4 protection. So I try to tell people this over and over again because a lot of people, stress over trying to get full set Prot 4 and everything like that, again, because I run a raiding server. So what I say is, if you look at my armor, I have 2 pieces of Prot 4, and then I have 2 pieces of Prot 2. And I have max protection, because if you look at Prot 2, you get 5 from each. So technically, I could even have a Prot 2 piece, a Prot 1 piece, and then 2 Prot 4 pieces. So you just add up the totals, Prot 3 is 7 protection, and then Prot 2 is 5, Prot 1 is 3, and then Prot 4 is 11. So keep in mind, 25 is the max protection you can get. So, if you have 4 pieces of Prot 4, you're going to have 44 protection. If you have 4 pieces of Prot 2, you're going to have 20 protection. So you're still 5 below the cap, which means you will take more damage. And a lot of people might, try and kind of argue against me with this. Well, I was using full Prot 4 and I took less damage than, when I was wearing full Prot 3 or anything like that. Well, see, the tip is, you hit between a certain amount. Say you have, minimum, you have low end damage, you have maximum damage, top end damage. So whenever you get hit, you're not going to get hit for the same amount every time, especially not with MCMMO, which I do have on my server. So you have to keep in mind, it does fluctuate, and, just please bear that in mind when you're trying to test and, say, it doesn't work or whatever like that. And keep in mind that 25 is the cap for Enchanted Armor. It's not the cap for Diamond Armor. That is a completely different thing. Obviously, Diamond compared to Iron is way better. So, again, you can look that up on the wiki and kind of get the values and everything like that. So, now is for fun times. Just going to go over a little tip with you guys. Let's close this. So, I have a pumpkin head. I can't really see anything because I'm a loser with a pumpkin on my head. So what am I going to do? I don't know how to get this off. What do? Oh, there we go. Just hit random buttons and it's F1. So in order to hide the stupid pumpkin face, you're just going to hit F1. Granted, it will hide your UI, but you can still open it afterwards. So, you hit your usual T and you can type or whatever like that. So we're going to go to the last tip and, oh no, what is this? What is this? I'm drowning. I think Duck's made a trap. Oh, wait. I'm not drowning. Oh, pumpkin. Pumpkin. Pumpkin saved my life. So, anyways, pumpkin. You wear a pumpkin on your head, and so you will never drown. It just refreshes your breath, as you can see. If you watch my health bubbles, it'll just keep refreshing itself over and over and over again. The way that works, it's not on every server. It's only on servers that have the World Guard plugin. And most generic servers, if it's more than just your group of friends playing, they do have World Guard to prevent griefing in their spawn and everything like that. So what you have to do is talk to your owner, ask, if they have the pumpkin scuba enabled in their World Guard config. And, whether they say yes or no, that's completely up to them. But it is enabled on some servers, so don't lose all hope. But it's just a cool little clever thing to play around with. Tip number 18 is vines. And a lot of people know that if you are up against, a log, you can climb it, you can go down it, and, you won't take fall damage if you're on it or whatever like that. But some people don't know that if you go, say I jump here, and I hold shift, if I just turn my F5, you can see that I'm kind of on here. Like, I am just kind of hanging out here. So, we're going to move along like a creep, and as long as you're in this block, you're going to be fine. And so a lot of people don't know that you can go across it, and it's just really helpful for, maybe secret entrances, jump maps, anything like that. So, again, some people don't know it, some people do. And this one is a really silly one. I know a lot of you probably know this, but again, there are some people that don't. So in order to make a giant forestry, you're going to put 4 saplings down on the ground, like so. You're going to use 1 bone meal and just aim towards any one of them. And you're going to get yourself a ginormous tree. So a lot of people, again, don't know about it, so I figured why not. Alright, tip number 20, it's the last tip, and it's sort of a 1.2.5 trick and earlier, but I still felt that I should kind of include it because it's so unique. So the trick is have a sticky piston and place it down, you know, activate it obviously with a lever, whatever, torch, anything. And what you would do, obviously they fixed it in 1.3, so let me finish this, but you break the top and, you know, you actually hit the top, and it would just break the top, whether you in creative or survival. It would leave the bottom half, and the bottom half looks so cool. And it also works with light. So if I come over here and I get some glowstone and I place it under here and block it off so you guys can see, you know, put TNT there, why not? But it actually still lets the light through, like I showed you in tip number, what was it, 2? So it's a really cool little thing, and this is my fail toilet, but you know, you can make cool like wall designs or anything like that, and I just thought it was so unique that I kind of wanted to include it. So in order to get it in 1.3, there's only kind of one option you have. You can take the schematic in the description box below and put it on your server, and you have this little block. So the schematic includes just this little block. I'm not going to include the wall or anything. You guys can, you know, make whatever you want with it. But it'll include this block, you know, in different kind of angles or whatever, so that way you guys can use it on your server if you kind of feel that, you know, it has that unique touch that you want to add, so, you know, people are like, oh, what is this block? It's so cool looking, and stuff like that. So I just thought it was really unique, and if you guys want the schematic, it's below again, and I hope you guys can use it and, you know, enjoy it. So those were the 20 tips, and I really hope you guys learned something this time around. I know the other 20 tips kind of had some more, you know, I guess like noobish tips or whatever, but and I guess they were less kind of useful. So hopefully this one was a little bit more useful for you guys, and I really hope that you guys can use some of it to your advantage. Anyways, that was the whole video, so I really hope you guys learned something, and thank you so much for watching, and I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Dex the Name for helping me as always. I'm going to be doing some more videos with Dux in the near future. I know that he has a bunch of fans on here as well, so I hope that, you know, is it, and I hope you guys truly learned something, and I just kind of wanted to give another shout out to all of the new subscribers I've gotten. I love you guys all so much. I think I'm nearing almost 8,000 subscribers, so I truly thank you guys so much for kind of just following me and giving me, you know, the benefit of the doubt with kind of getting another video up. I've been a little bit delayed, but you know, hopefully I can just kind of keep them coming, and you know, I have a whole bunch of things planned, and I am so excited, and I'm really happy that you guys have my back. So I will see you soon, and I thank you so much again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!